Hello, in this video we're going to be talking about my low power issue with my Defender 110-200 TDI. So everything that you hear about in here only pertains to the 200 TDI engine. Might pertain to the 300 as well, I'm not sure, but I only know about the 200 because that's what I've got. Let's get on with it. Okay, so I've had a fault with the car for some time. It's been getting progressively worse. When it first started to happen, I was questioning whether it was just my mind or not thinking the car was going slower. Then as it started to get worse, I realised, yeah, there's definitely a fault here. And then I started to slow down on hills, even the slightest hill. I'd get down to about 40, and now I'm getting down to about 30 miles an hour and changing down gears constantly. So we'll have a look around and see if we can find and identify what's going on. Right, just to keep this video length down, I'll run through all the stuff I've done and then I will show the actual video of what I did to fix it. So my first port of call was fueling. So I opened up a little drain on the bottom of the fuel filter and that came out absolutely horrid. It was almost like there was it smelled like petrol. So I don't know if I put petrol in it at some point. I may have done quite a lot of driving around and filling up, so who knows. I didn't certainly notice anything at the time. So I replaced the fuel filter. After that, I checked that the fuel lift pump is working, which is just down there at the back where my finger's covering now. The way I did that was I took off the output of the pump and turned the engine over, didn't start it, and just watched it all splatter out the fuel, and it shot out a good metre, so I knew that was good. Then I came on to the return pipes. I noticed that I had a nice shiny patch on the engine here, and I thought it might be an injector leaking, but it wasn't. It was this banjo bolt here that was leaking, as well as the return pipe. So I replaced that banjo bolt, replaced all the return pipes, and it still didn't make a difference. So I really started to wonder what was going on. Then someone gave me the idea that actually, because I've got the raised air intake up here, coming down, there's a bit almost like a U-shape down the corner there where it goes down and back up, come up to the air intake and the filter down here. And they said, what if rainwater's got down there and it's restricting the airflow? So I took off all this pipe work, made sure that all the airflow was clear coming through to here, and then got to the air filter, found that was filled with oil, which was quite annoying. So I replaced the air filter, that still didn't help. And I thought, why is it filled with oil? Has that cyclone from the vent on the rocker cover, I can't remember if it's that name, the breather cyclone in there, has that gone faulty? Because there is a little diaphragm in the top of this lid here. So I replaced that, still didn't make any difference. Then I got onto the turbo and thought, well, is the turbo not actuating, or is it blocked, or just not operating at all? Found there was a leak in this pipe down that was done here, rubber pipe down here, so I replaced that with a bit of hose. Still didn't make a difference. Took the hose off, ran the engine, could feel the air pressure coming out of it, and there was quite a bit of pressure. So I thought, well, intercooler, maybe the intercooler's blocked, which is the radiator along the side here. So I took the bottom and the top hose off that, expecting to see a whole load of oil in there, thinking that, well, if the air filter is filled with oil, then maybe the intercooler is filled with oil as well. But it wasn't, it was completely clear. Took off the pipe from the intercooler, come up to the air intake, thinking that maybe that's blocked. It wasn't blocked. And I thought, right, well, this is starting to get, to some serious things now. It could potentially be piston rings have gone, or my fuel pump's gone. Then someone said, oh, you can add a bit of power by changing the boost pin. I thought, well, don't really want to do that, but I'll consider it. But I really don't want to do that, because if it's not operating now and I put a boost pin in, just to get extra fueling in there, what's the initial fault? And then I started looking into the boost pins, how they operate, and thought, well, what if that boost pin isn't operating? Which is when I got down and I took that cover off there and realised that that was all corroded inside and the boost pin wasn't operating whatsoever. So I'll include that video of how I did that in this here. Oh, sorry. Before I got down to the fuel pump, I checked all the valve clearances and redone them. Well, I won't show that now because that video goes on for ages and ages. I'll put that in another video. But my boost pump down here, the boost pin, sorry, I'll show the video now. So we've got down to our injector pump here. This is the front of the car, down here, and that's the back of the car. Now on your injector pump, this is where your boost pins contain. That's where I suspect I might have this issue of low power. So we've got to undo these 4 screws here and take this cover off. So this tube here, that is where your air pressure comes from your turbo, and blows air into the cap here, which then pushes down on this plate here. When you open up the cover, you'll see a dot, so you've got to make sure that dot is put back into the same place when you put your boost pin diaphragm back in. When I initially came to mine, my dot was facing here, which is directly to the front of the car. Now that is basically positioned to get it out, so that's where it's lowest marking. And when I initially tried to take this off earlier on, which unfortunately I didn't record, so I'm doing this again, I could not spin my diaphragm or boost pin. It should be free like this. I couldn't push it up or down, it was completely wedged in. There was no movement in it whatsoever. So what I had to do was lift up the flap and squirt a whole load of lubricant, WD-40, into there, and just keep on wiggling it gently. I left it for a few hours, and then come back, some more wiggling. Eventually it started to spin. After it started to spin, I was able to lift it up and down. And what had happened is, on the back, just here, you've got this bung, and it is just a bung as a vent, which goes onto here. Now in here, as your air comes from your boost onto the top, it pushes this down, and the air inside needs to go somewhere, so it gets blown like a bung. But when you come off boost, this comes back up and it sucks air in. If you're in a puddle, or if you're in mud or wading or anything like that, it's going to suck water straight back in. And that is what nobody has ever, I've never seen any videos on protecting this wading bung or anything like that, this bung here when you're wading. So I have to think of something to make a tube coming from there, like a breather, like on the axles or something like that, going up the raised air intake, to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So once you've got it out, you've got a little pin which comes through, and that pin comes through just here. And to get to that pin, mine was seized out, so eventually once you spun it round, it did loosen off. But what you have to do is take this nut off here on your throttle lever. Now that is spring loaded, there's a big spring under there, so release this catch, this spring side here, drop it down, and as you drop it down, it will go below the throttle lever. You can undo this nut and take the arm completely off. Make sure you mark the position of the throttle spindle there. Then, just here, there's a bung with a 5mm Allen key head in it. You take that bung off and you push very gently the back of your governor pin, push it out, and then from inside, once you've got your boost pin out, push it back in again, and squirt lots of lubricant in there, and keep on doing that until it loosens up and it's completely free. Mine was seized solid. So we'll get this boost pin out, we'll clean it up. Okay, so I've got the boost pin out finally, and now I can show you exactly in detail what was actually happening with it. So you've got the boost pin which sits in the pump like so, and there's a tube that it slides into like that. At the end of that tube there is what's called a governor pin, and that comes into the side of it here. Now in its natural state this pin will be up here and it'll be fully out into the tube. As your boost from your turbo comes on, it pushes this on the diaphragm, which pushes this boost pin down and allows this governor pin to move out just a fraction to allow more fuel to come in. So it'll go down, right over your boost, and as it comes back up, it'll push it back up, out again. When you're trying to get it out, it'll be resting against this lip, so you have to turn it around like that, so the lip doesn't restrict that boost pin. On the top of your boost pin plate here on that washer, there's a little dot just stamped there. So to get yours out, you've got to twist it so that your dot is facing right at the very front of the car. And that'll mean the boost pin come out. But mine was, my governor pin was sitting and it was jammed out completely. So when I initially got to it, just watch that little nylon washer. When I initially got to it, I couldn't even turn the diaphragm to get the boost pin out of the way. You can still see there's quite a bit of gunk there, there's quite a bit of rust. Now what I did notice was that on the back of the housing of this, you have your pipe coming into the top, which is the lid you'll take off to get to this. That comes from your turbo. Then underneath at the back, there's a tiny little rubber bung. It's only about 15 millimeters long. That's what's been letting water into mine and caused all the corrosion. So I don't know if there's some sort of wading kit you can get for that to protect it. Because naturally, as that goes down, it's going to push air out. As it comes back up, it's going to suck whatever's there. So if you're going through water, or if you're going through deep mud, it's going to suck whatever's on the bottom of that tube up and into it. So there must be some sort of wading kit, but I've never actually heard anybody talk about wading kits for the fuel pumps or anything like that, or the injection pump rather. So for now, I'm going to clean this up and just make it sparkling and new, and get it back in the car and see if that makes a difference to my underperformance. And if you notice on the bottom of here, hopefully you can see it, there's a number. On the bottom of mine, it's 13H. So that is the standard pin that came with the car. If you want to change it, it will come with a different number stamped on the bottom of it. I'm not going to change mine though. I just want to get this one back in and then get a new one of these ordered with a new diaphragm and some new washers because that's quite corroded. Get a new spring as well. So we've cleaned up the boost pin. That's the hole there it slots into in here. So the first thing we've got to do is make sure, you can see all the corrosion in there. Make sure there's no dirt in here, but mine's quite corroded. So I'm going to replace this. We've got a nylon washer which goes onto the boost pin. Right now, I'm going to put our spring back in. That sits on top of the star wheel. Now you can really see how much corrosion there is. That bung that I was talking about, that's the hole for it there. It's just a vent. There's no one-way valve or anything like that, and it is just a little rubber piece down there. You can see it just there. This is it here, and there's a nozzle of it. So check that that is clear. Slide this in with the dot facing towards the front of the car. So I've cleaned it all up. I've got the boost pin back in. I'm going to turn my dial back up to the original position. I'm not going to leave it forwards. That's the position to get it out. And can't really find any information about what the boost will be like at that position. But originally out of factory, they were set facing the rocker cover. We'll get the lid back on and take it for a little test drive and see how that is. Now, on your throttle lever here, the way to get it back on, if you mess your timing up, if you mess your idle speed up, and when you start the engine up, it's either really sluggish or revs high, you can adjust it on this bolt here. There's a nut the other side of it, and you can spin the bolt out to lower it. Or, if you take your throttle arm back off, you can use your fingers. This pin here will be free, that spindle. You can just turn it whilst the engine's running, making sure you don't put your hands anywhere, and get it to the right position at the right idle speed. Then turn the engine back off, put your spring on, don't touch that spindle, push your throttle lever on, so the throttle lever's against that bolt down there on this arm here. Push it down onto the spindle, get your nut on, and then get a pair of pliers underneath here. The spring of that spring there, that clasp, that'll be around here. Get your pair of long nose pliers and drag it around and hook it onto here. It can be a little bit fiddly, a little bit difficult, but it is fairly easy. It's just fiddly. Okay, so we've taken it for a little test drive. The engine's acting as it did months ago, which is absolutely brilliant. All the performance in it, well, say performance, you can feel the boost coming on, you can feel the turbo working, and it holds at speed. I don't slow down on heels anymore, which is absolutely great. So it took me a little while to find out what this fault was, but all the checks that I did and all the little pieces I did replace, they needed doing anyway. So yeah, it was all in benefit of getting the engine running properly. So thanks for watching. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.